Hello, and welcome to the Learn JavaScript series. In this video, we are going to discuss the basics of Boolean logic and conditional statements. Let's get started. In the video on basic variable types, I discussed the Boolean type, which is represented as true or false. Boolean types can be used to branch a program into different paths based on conditions. To branch based on different conditions, an if statement can be used. If statements are blocks of code that will execute if the condition is true and will not be executed if the condition is false. If statements can be chained together with else statements to provide a programmatic flow based on various conditions. For example, if I'm writing a program to determine whether or not a person is eligible to vote, there are a couple different conditions that need to be met. First, the person needs to be a US citizen, and they also must be at least 18 years old. I can use an if statement to model this decision-making process. I'll start by making a number variable called age. This will represent the current age of the person. I'll also make a Boolean variable called isUSCitizen. This will represent whether or not the person is a US citizen, with true meaning that they are a US citizen and false meaning that they're not a US citizen. To start, I'm going to write an if statement, check if the person is at least 18 years old. To do that in JavaScript, I'll want to use the greater than or equal to comparison symbol. If the condition is met, I'll console log the string eligible to vote. Else, if the condition is not met, I'll console log the string ineligible to vote. When writing if statements, it is important that your parentheses wrap the conditional statement. If you have multiple comparisons in your if statement, you may want to add additional parentheses so that comparisons are done in the correct order. Now, since in the US, a person needs to be at least 18 years old and also be a US citizen, I'm going to add an additional condition based on the isUSCitizen Boolean variable. You'll notice that in this case, both requirements must be true for voting eligibility. This signifies that I will use the AND operator. If the requirement was that a person must be at least 18 or be a US citizen, then I'd use the OR operator. In JavaScript, the AND operator is represented by two ampersand symbols. When testing for equality, generally the triple equal should be used. In JavaScript, you can also use the double equal symbol, but that does comparisons slightly different and should be avoided when possible. Triple equals represents the most strict comparison, and that is generally what is the intended behavior. Now, since the variable isUSCitizen is a Boolean variable, and if statements require a Boolean condition, I don't need to explicitly compare the value to true. I can instead use a shorthand notation and only specify the variable itself. JavaScript will know that it is a Boolean value and will check it as true or false directly. Next, I'd like to highlight the usage of the OR operator in JavaScript. To do that, I'll use an example of checking for primary colors. In color theory, the primary colors are defined as red, yellow, or blue. You'll notice that in this case, for the condition of is primary color to be true, the color can be one of three values. This is a perfect use case for the JavaScript OR operator. I'll first make a variable called color and give it a string value of orange. Then I'll write an if statement with three conditions if the color matches any of the three primary colors. Since orange in this case is not a primary color, it will not match the condition and the if statement block will not execute. Since I also included an else statement, if I were to run this code, the console log would print not a primary color. Using conditional logic with the AND and the OR operator in JavaScript is one of the building blocks of creating programs. With these tools, it is easy to branch a program in different directions based on almost infinite conditions. That wraps up this introduction to JavaScript, Boolean logic, and conditional statements. As always, the description of this video will contain a link to a code sandbox that contains the code I've written. Feel free to take a look at that and play around with it. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.